So first, we're just going to discuss a little what FNH is, so what kind of topics we kind of look through. So in FNH, we really study a wide range of topics from human nutrition to like the chemical properties in food, the global food market. Like it's really a whole wide range, and you can choose what major that interests you. And we really focus on looking on different aspects of the food system and whether it's maybe you're concerned about how food is distributed, whether it's distributed fairly across the world, or maybe what makes the food taste good, or how does your favorite drink gets its flavor. We really explore a wide range of topics within food nutrition and health about food. And even better, our learning often expands beyond our lectures and readings. We go out to, like, let's say the UBC farm, and we look at how foods are grown, how the food system might work in a local setting. And we really get that hands-on experience that not a lot of other faculty offers, for you to really see how you can apply your learning into the real world and how that transform into maybe a potential career, like a food analysis, or you want to work on improving food policies. So you can really see how your learning can be transformed into being used in like rewards settings through these in-person experiences. Okay, so here's a few great things about our faculty that we'd like to highlight. So in FNH, our degrees are pretty flexible in that we have, when you get to your upper years, you tend to have more restricted or unrestricted electives where you can explore maybe some of the other areas that you're interested in. For instance, like maybe you're interested in how food commercial influence people's eating habits, then maybe you can take a class in psychology and learn about how maybe different factors impact the way people behave. And then secondly, we really take a deeper understanding into the population and the public health and like the current issues that are happening in our food system and how maybe we as consumers can take part in creating change. And lastly, we have that we explore local and global food systems and how they affect human health. So like I mentioned earlier, in actually one of our core series class, LFS 250, we get to go to the UBC farm, which is a farm within UBC where a lot of LFS students actually do projects there and maybe they grow food, and we grow food that gets delivered to maybe local communities. And we also have food markets where we sell to different community members. So we really explore how a local food system can span and impact communities. Okay, so here's a little brief refresher on the different majors that we offer. So for nutritional science and food nutrition and health general, they are non-competitive majors, so they don't require an additional application. As for food science, food and nutritional science, as well as dietetics, they are our competitive majors, so they required additional applications, and we'll dive more into them now. Okay, so for nutritional science, Maddie is a part of this major. So would you like to share a bit of your experience?
Absolutely. Nutritional sciences has been a very eye-opening major to be a part of. And it's kind of funny because I bounced around a little bit. When I first got into LFS, I was in FNH general, and then I realized I wanted something that was a little bit more structured because, as Wing mentioned earlier, our programs and the majors are very, very flexible. So you've got a lot of freedom in the decisions you make. But nutritional sciences has been a very engaging major to be a part of because it does offer you a very comprehensive understanding of the how, the what, and the why of what nutrition really is. And when I say that, I mean we are examining things from all angles. We spend a lot of time exploring these key nutrition concepts related to human health, vitamins, minerals, micronutrients, macronutrients, and you take a lot of time to understand the implications of getting enough or not getting enough, what can happen as a result of not consuming enough of these different nutrients, the effect that that has on human health, human metabolism, disease outcomes as well. And we spend a lot of time trying to understand what those applications actually look like and what the implications are of nutritional health and status in individuals. So it's been a very unique experience and certainly something that I'm so grateful to be studying. I think it's really, really incredible. And to have a major that is so grounded in science, with almost all of my first year courses being the core foundational sciences, but then being able to branch off and understand how those sciences apply to this whole world of nutrition is very, very fascinating.
Yeah. Thank you, Maddie, for sharing. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of different, you guys definitely look at nutrition at different aspects within the nutritional science major. So then now I'll be sharing a bit about my experience in the food nutrition and health major. I'm going to be honest, I haven't exactly taken too many FNH courses yet, since in my first year, it was really taking those foundational science that would provide me the knowledge to be able to proceed into my FNH classes. So I've taken one class called FNH 250, which is discussing some fundamental nutrition concepts, as well as LFS 250, where I've gotten some in-person experiences like visiting the UBC farm or a dairy farm. So I'll share a bit about my experience in the FNH 250 class. You really get to learn more about different nutrition that you didn't even like know about before. For instance, like I learned a lot about like different misconceptions that really still exist in the nutrition community, and how sometimes the media really exaggerates the effects of some of our nutrients, even though they still provide so much. They're so important to our health, yet sometimes they get kind of shunned. Not really even based, they maybe take one to statistics and really magnify it in the media. But overall, it's been a great experience for me to learn about the different nutrients and how they interact with each other within our bodies. And as for an LFS 250, I really got to explore like more about different issues within the food systems that I didn't even realize before. For instance, when we talked about sustainability, I often only considered the environmental aspects of it rather than social economical aspects, or how it impacts our nutrition, because that's part of sustainability as well. So you really get to broaden your understanding on the food systems within these courses. And in FNH, you get more flexibility as you transition to the upper years. So you can expand into maybe other areas you're interested as well in this major. Okay. As for career opportunities, these are only one of like the many possible career options really in the FNH or nutritional science major. So we here have some home ec teacher or working food services, or if you're interested in driving food policies, you might be working in that sector. And often this might not be known to a lot of people, but a lot of people take FNH, go into the FNH program and actually go into med school and become doctors. Our FNH program really lays the foundation that is needed to go into med school. And we have something that might be more unique compared to the general science program, in that we have a focus on nutrition as well. So that's something that science might not go as deep into. Yeah, so here's more career options like medicine, like I mentioned before, or if you're interested in fitness, maybe, and how to use nutrition and pharmaceutical sales. Yeah, so a lot of different career options. And as I mentioned before, if you really want to explore more into talk more about careers, definitely join Rob's session on Thursday. Okay, next we have our food science major. So like I mentioned earlier, this one is a competitive major, so it requires an additional application. So here you learn about maybe how food is preserved, how food is given its flavors, and how food is processed, which and how food is engineered and the chemical properties that are within food. And you gain practical experiences through lab work, like in this photo here, where you see a student working with one of our professors. So you really get to explore food production in this major.
I do just want to add, I've got quite a few friends in the food science major, and they really do emphasize this hands-on learning experience in their classes. A lot of their labs, they are there, fermenting different milk products to see how the consistency of certain yogurts turns out depending on the bacteria that they use. And they've got all of these really technical but practical experiences that they get to apply far beyond their undergrad. So it's a very, very hands-on major for sure.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Maddie. I actually don't have a friend I know that's in the food science major, so glad to get that little insight there. Okay, so here's are some career opportunities for the food science major. So you can work in product development, like maybe enhancing the flavor in like a chocolate, let's say, or like how to make it more nutritionally dense, something like that. Okay. So lastly, no, sorry, I think this is our second to last major. So this is the food and nutritional science double major. So it's essentially just the food science major and nutritional science major combined. So if you're interested in studying like chemical properties and how food is engineered, as well as like nutritional aspects of food and how the different nutrients interact with each other in the body, then this might be a great major for you. Okay, so here are some career opportunities within this major as well. As you can tell, like some of the careers might overlap within like our different majors, which is what makes our faculty so great, that like each major really touches on different aspects of nutrition, but also gives you the knowledge to be able to like expand into so many different career opportunities. Okay, so lastly, we have the dietetics major. So this one's a competitive major as well, and it's a professional students that provides students the knowledge to become a registered dietitian, and you'll be supporting individuals in maybe nutritional assessments or how to manage gut related disorders, for example, like IBS, or there's like many different sectors in dietetics. You could be a sport nutritionist, or you can work in a clinical setting. So there's definitely a wide range of areas that you can work within for this major.
I will also just add, as we had mentioned previously, that it is a competitive major, but it's a little bit different in the approach compared to the other ones that we have, being food science and nutritional and food science. The dietetics application is a little bit more comprehensive and involves like a written application. There's an interview process. It's a little bit more intensive, but the reward is certainly there if you succeed in your application to dietetics. It is also great to note that if this is a field of interest to you, UBC offers the only undergraduate program for dietetics in the province. So if this is something that you want, be certain to work very hard towards it, as it is very competitive.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Maddie, for adding on. Yeah, so the applications to apply to dietetics is a little more comprehensive than the other majors, but that's just because they want to make sure that you're really interested in the field and is passionate to pursue a career in dietetics. Okay, yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, you could be working in the clinical settings and as a dietitian, or you could work in maybe businesses as a dietitian, or work in different communities, or be involved in nutrition education. Like one of my professors, she is a dietitian and she is a professor as well, teaching one of my FNH courses. Okay, so now we'll move on to the case study. So I'll pass it on to you, Maddie.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Wing. All right, everybody. So thank you, Wing, for that quick little overview of all of the different majors that we offer. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to use Slido as a way to ask those questions, and then we will be sure to answer them all at the end of this presentation. But in the meantime, we're going to focus on a little case study that is based on some of the learning that I've done in my own classes over the past few years. So we're going to be focusing on the nutrition transition and human health. So, what exactly is the nutrition transition? This is something that I personally had not heard of until I got to UBC. But the nutrition transition explores the shift in dietary consumption and energy expenditure that closely relates to the economic, demographic, and epidemiological changes that we are seeing in our communities. So, this is driven by a lot of diets shifting towards highly processed foods that are higher in sugar, fat, salt, and low in fiber. And it also describes the increasing prevalence of obesity and non-communicable diseases in our communities. So the 5 stages of the nutrition transition first include hunter and gatherers. So this is kind of describing like that arch in humanity where we started as hunter and gatherers and then slowly began to see that agricultural advancement, the industrialization and modernization of these techniques, and then the emergence of non-communicable diseases as a result of some of these changes, as well as behavioral changes in our populations. And this is still ongoing. So while it has started hundreds and hundreds of years ago, it currently exists in our communities today. So the first aspect of this is making these food choices. And a lot of consumer choices are based on personal preference, convenience, dietary restrictions, moral reasons and beliefs, as well as factor-based limitations. These factors can relate to accessibility, availability of food, affordability. These can be related, again, tying back to your personal preferences, your dietary restrictions, environment, sustainability. All of these external factors play a critical role in the determination of the decisions that you make as a consumer. So ultimately, food choices are not solely influenced by what we want to eat, but it's rather influenced by what we have access to and what we have learned about nutrition. The effects of this on human health has slowly changed our knowledge over the years. Our food skills have evolved, and our understanding of nutrition has been a key driver in this shift. I could also say that it's our lack of understanding of nutrition that is a key driver in this nutrition transition. So, what we often consider when thinking about this are the social determinants of health. And these disproportionately affect rural and marginalized communities. So, some of the social determinants of health can include your race, your ethnicity, your religion, the area that you live, whether it be a rural community or more central in a city. Environmental impacts, your access to water, your hygiene practices, your living conditions, your education level, your family, your friends, your community. The social determinants of health really encompass everything that is external to you, but the things that still directly affect you as an individual and your overall health. So this essentially means that we've seen these increased rates of obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and arthritis, alongside many other non-communicable diseases, being strongly affected by the foods that we are eating and these social determinants that are external to us. So thinking about food quality and how that's changed over the years, we've seen foods become increasingly high in sugar, which can lead to spikes in blood sugar that induce these peaks and valleys in our blood that ultimately affect our hunger cycle and how hungry we as individuals feel after a meal. We've also seen a very steady increase in the sodium content in our foods as well, mainly being in processed foods. And this has led to severe increases in blood pressure, leading to increased hypertension in populations. And again, foods higher in unhealthier fats have often been opted for due to better flavor. They're often a little bit more filling, and they're just a little bit more appealing and often more affordable. But unfortunately, consuming or over consuming these types of foods can lead to extensive weight gain, inflammation in the body, and increased risk for diseases such as heart disease. Additionally, this shift towards more convenient and processed foods has resulted in there being lower levels of fiber in our diet. So, foods lower in fiber are nowhere near as filling compared to foods that do have a substantial amount. And over time, this can actually have negative effects on your gut health and your digestive system. Fiber, it plays a critical role in cleaning out your gut and ensuring that you feel full. So, not only does it help mediate overeating, but it also is in a way kind of like the broom that sweeps out all the gunk in your digestive system. Another really big part of this nutrition transition is that there hasn't been a centralized focus on nutrition education. And as a result of that, consumers don't always know what is considered healthy. And pair that with constant diet trends and fads in the media, it can become pretty difficult to pull apart what is true and what is important and what healthy can actually mean for you. So, a really big part of this, and what we focus on a lot in our programs or in our majors within the FNH program, is understanding our bodies and our nutritional needs. It's understanding the external factors and how current processing methods and food policy influence food quality. But it's also increasing dietary diversity with a variety of nutrients, vitamins, and minerals, and finding strategies that work to implement things like this. So that is a very, very quick overview of the nutrition transition as a whole. And some of the key profs in our faculty who have been leaders in discussions surrounding the nutrition transition. First here is Dr. Barbara Stefanska. She's an assistant professor of teaching in the FNH program. She's been my instructor a couple of times, and I've loved both the courses that I've taken from her, both of which are mentioned here on the screen. So FNH 350 is the fundamentals of nutrition, exploring how our body metabolizes proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, as well as different vitamins and minerals. And then we've got FNH 477, which is specifically geared towards nutrition and disease prevention, using food and using vitamins and minerals as a means to intervene in a disease onset and possibly the progression of a disease as well. Next, we have Gail Hammond, who has also been my prof, and Wing, I believe she would have been yours for FNH 250. Yeah? Okay, cool. She's also another associate professor of teaching in our faculty here, and some of the courses that she teaches as well are FNH 250, which is Nutrition Concepts and Controversies. She also teaches FNH 370, which is Nutrition Assessment. I'm currently taking that class, and it's very interesting because you get to learn about all of the different methods and strategies and considerations that you need to make when you are assessing nutrition status in individuals, in samples, and in populations. And then we've also got FNH 490, which is topics in food, nutrition, and health. It's a little bit more general, but it's usually centered around a certain discussion topic, something that is current, important in the context of nutrition today. So we touched on this a little bit earlier in the main room, but why study in LFS? And I'll call on Wing in a moment, maybe to share one of her own personal reasons for choosing LFS. But one of the key factors that influenced my decision in choosing LFS was its interdisciplinary approach to addressing local and global issues. And that is something that I think is so important in our degree and in our majors. Being able to understand the interconnections and where these different concepts and ideas and fields, strategies and solutions intersect is such a critical part of being able to actually build a foundational set of skills to help you achieve your goals and also enact change in the future. Another point that we talk about often is how tight-knit our community is, and that truly is because it is 100% the honest truth. Our team of staff in the Student Services Center are beyond welcoming and friendly. Our faculty members are open to connecting with students, and they are there to support you 100%. And we've got a very welcoming and exciting community of students as well in our classes, both be it in general science classes and LFS specific classes. Another key point here is that we do offer a very foundational degree in that you get the skills you need and the knowledge you need in your core sciences, including chemistry, physics, math, biology, biochemistry, all of these very sciencey courses, I will say. But then you have a chance to apply that knowledge beyond the borders of normal, and I don't want to say normal, but maybe what would be considered traditional science courses. You get to push those boundaries. You get to explore nutrition. You get to explore human metabolism. You get to explore what that really means in the context of our food systems today. And then last but not least, very rich and experiential learning opportunities. These are directly integrated into our classes through lab work, a field experience, whether that literally be in the field at the farm or something a little more distant, be out in the community. So certainly a lot of opportunities to get your hands dirty and to really apply what you are learning. So Wing, I'm just going to call on you now. Why did you choose LFS?
Yeah, for sure. So I chose LFS because I've always had an interest in nutrition and wellness in general, because I always believed that having a positive relationship with food and having nutritional knowledge will help you make informed food choices, which would be crucial to you being able to lead a healthy lifestyle. And I felt in high school and middle school, we never really touched upon nutrition education. So I really wanted to learn more about nutrition education. So that's why I decided to choose LFS. And one of the key aspects that really drove me to choosing LFS as well is the hands-on experience, because I don't think a lot of other faculties offer that. And I know some students that are in like the upper years in UBC, and they've shared with me that like LFS, the hands-on opportunities that LFS offers is really something that not a lot of them get access to, like even in their upper years. So it's really great how LFS offers so many opportunities for students to get involved, even in like first and second year where you might have a little less experience in different subjects. I still got a chance to like explore, let's say, the dairy system through visiting a dairy farm. So those were the reasons that drove me to choosing LFS.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, it's certainly an incredible faculty, and no one's journey here looks the same. Like Wing, you kind of had a half a clue right from the get-go that you knew this was something you wanted to study. It took me a little bit longer. I started in the Faculty of Science and very quickly realized I wanted something that was a little bit more flexible and holistic in its approach to teaching me about human health and human well-being. And while it's important to understand those key fundamentals for my own personal goals, I thought there was so much more value in being able to take this interdisciplinary and very holistic approach to my learning. So certainly a great place to be for that.
Sure. I think yours is one of the many stories I've heard of science students transferring to LFS, really. I have a friend that personally done so as well. And I have some other friends that are in science that was like, oh, if I knew about LFS, I knew for sure I would have applied in the beginning.
For sure. Yeah. Everybody's journey looks different, right? And I think obviously some people are more geared towards and are more prepared to go study in biology and chemistry, and that is their passion. And ultimately that's what we're here to encourage you to do. We are here to encourage you to study and pursue your passion, your interest, and see where that takes you. So awesome. Thanks, Wing. Alrighty. So very quickly, before we dive into a little Q&A period, we do want to go over just some admission quick notes. So as you can see, this is here based on the BC high school curriculum. So hopefully you're able to make any translation there in case you are not part of the BC high school system. But grade 11 requirements to apply to and get into LFS, hopefully, is Pre-Calculus 11 or Foundations of Math 12. You also require at least one English course, be it English 11 or English 11 First Peoples. And then you require both Chemistry 11 and Physics 11. For grade 12 requirements, you need Pre-Calculus 12, you need either English 12 or English 12 First Peoples, and then you need one of either Biology 12, Chemistry 12, or Physics 12. So you don't need to take all three. If you do, you'll have those extra skills ready to hit the ground running in your first year when you dive into biology, chemistry, and physics courses. But if you only take one of those, just know that there is that transition period that profs are prepared for it and are ready to support you in. And then, if you are a post-secondary transfer student, you need to meet the minimum high school requirements or have taken the equivalent requirements at your post-secondary institution. So UBC, when considering your application, will look at the most recent 24 to 30 credits from your post-secondary institution. And a helpful resource here is the BC Transfer Guide. I don't have the link on hand. Breeze on it, amazing. The BC Transfer Guide will help you better understand the courses that you're currently taking and how those translate into the context of UBC. And as a post-secondary transfer, you will be competing among the many other post-secondary transfers and incoming UBC or incoming prospective students. So it is really important to aim for a competitive average. For a post-secondary transfer student, that usually looks like mid 70s or higher. For direct entry, often it's a little bit higher because the pool is much, much larger. Bree, anything to add there about admission quick notes?
None that I can think of. I think you've been very comprehensive. Nothing to add from an advising perspective, but if anyone has any questions in the Q&A period about admissions, I can certainly help answer those questions that come up.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Alrighty. So very quickly, how do you know if LFS is for you? We've thrown a lot of information at you, shared a little bit of our experience, but even still, sometimes that's not enough to really be certain. And that is 100% okay. Guys, it took me over 2 years to figure out what I wanted my major to be. So you're fine. Do not worry. But I would definitely say the first thing to really figuring that out is to do your research, explore more about land and food systems, learn more about the majors that we offer, UBC as a whole as well. You're not just a student here in the Faculty of Land and Food Systems, you are a UBC student as well. You got to make sure that this community is the right fit for you and that you will be able to achieve your goals and your future career through the programming that we offer here at UBC and in LFS. And then, of course, choose the degree that you want to study. Applications are coming up. The first deadline, the December 1st deadline for applications is coming up quite quickly. This is only first rounds. This is early admissions. You still have until January 15th of 2023. Holy crap, that's crazy to say. You still have a little bit of time if you're not rushing for the December 1st deadline. But no, also take time to know the admission requirements. We've given you a very brief overview today, but picked out the most important pieces of information that you need to know to successfully apply. And then as you're doing today, attend UBC events, attend LFS events and presentations just to get a better sense of who we are, what we do, and what opportunities lie ahead for you as well.